The universe has now turned into cookie dough on the molecular level. Ah, shit. Well, there we are, back in cookie clicker. Number go up, brain feel good, low IQ, wasting time. I don't know. Yes, actually, but it kind of calls into question what a game actually is, right? And I think like the most real answer is something like this where yeah, numbers go up and you get dopamine hits, but something that is engaging and challenging, I suppose. You know. And I think there is a way you can play this where you're just like, yeah, I'll just buy the next thing and keep going and keep clicking. But I kind of like the math and stuff, like planning ahead, you know, which upgrades do I get, you know? It's but that's kind of depth that's added by me, because you don't actually have to play that way because it is an infinite type of deal, and the end of it is, kind of, I should say, indefinite, meaning that yeah, you could make your own end, like, oh, I'll get to a trillion cookies or whatever, but there are hundreds of achievements, and yeah, I suppose the real ending would be when you prestige once, kind of, or that would be like the first like step, making a trillion cookies, and then the next ending, I suppose, would just be prestiging more and more and getting more and more upgrades and getting that CPS as high as possible. So it literally is just like, yes, let's get as many numbers on there, or let's get the highest number, the highest CPS possible. And I mean, yeah, the game is like a satire, but it's um, so many people spend a lot of time on it. Although, yeah, to be fair, a lot of the playtime of idle games is just it running in the background. Like, yeah, but it's weird that you can even call this a game. You know. Oh, we actually got a sugar lump. Um, you have one sugar lump. I don't even know how this works, to be honest. I think you can save scum actually to get more of them or something. I don't even know. Um, but anyways, wish I could play some nice music. But yeah, we'll just play the regular music, honestly. Um, I think the important thing if you're doing a game like this is to kind of plan things out. And I think there are mini games because I think that's kind of what these sugar lumps are for. You upgrade it and then you can like have a little bit more of a thing to do with these buildings that are extra, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but um, I never really did that very much, to be honest. And I don't know when the last time I played it was. Heck, maybe my old one's still running and I have like a gorillion cookies or whatever. But it was on Chrome, and this is where I got it on Steam, which is great because now it'll say most played game cookie clicker. You know, whatever. I've already fallen into the trap. Um, but the point is you can get yourself out of it, because it is well, Cookie Clicker is not really a gotcha game because it would be like, oh, pay, or you have ads in the middle of it and you can pay to skip an ad or whatever, or watch an ad and get 20 cookies or something like that. It's not really like that. It's about the doing, you know. And really, the doing is you clicking cookies and getting upgrades. So the doing is numbers go up, brain funny, you know. But and versus a game like say Terraria, you're exploring around, finding things, you know. Maybe you get an extra item that gives you more stuff, but you're fighting things, and there are certain strategies. And although yeah, I guess an example of this is Dark Souls, but I haven't played it. Is like, yeah, you're about to fight a big boss or whatever, and then it has a unique move set that you have to kind of overcome and learn, you know. Or yeah, a game like Portal, like. But Portal is a puzzle game, and then I think these like genres are kind of harmful in a way, because like Portal is more a like learning puzzle than a game, you know. It's just like an interactive, like a puzzle video game. Because when you think of a game, you know, that's such a weird kind of vague way of looking at things, you know. Something that's, I would say basically what it boils down to is a game that's, a game is something that's interactive, that you play, right? And that doesn't really have a real purpose besides, or doesn't have like a real utilitarian purpose besides fun, you know. You go to work and work at the office or whatever. That's not really a game. That's something you do for a instrumental purpose or whatever, or a let's actually get our cookies up. Actually, I don't know what to buy, because I don't know if this thing is even right actually, but we got to buy a couple alchemy labs. I buy Portal. Yeah, I don't know. But say you're playing ball or whatever, like it's play, you know? And Cookie Clicker is play, you know? But it's a bit, I don't know. The gameplay is shallow. It's not really gameplay. It's just, yeah, numbers go up. But yeah, the strategy is like, okay, does a game have to have strategy though? Because like, what's the strategy in like, well, okay, I'm thinking of like tennis. It's very simple, or simple looking, you know. I'm sure there's like crazy moves that people can do, but it's like people kind of going back and forth, and like it's like Pong, you know, Pong, the video game. I'm sure there's a lot of like, you can move up and down and stuff. It would be like Pong if you could go like this and really move around. Because I think Pong you can only go vertically, but and you can like spike it. There are choices to be made. I think that could be a purpose of games too, is to have this illusion of choice, you know, or have this feeling that you have choice. But obviously that doesn't factor into a lot of video games either, because a lot of video games do not respect the player's choices, or that's not a fundamental aspect of the design, you know. A big example of this is a Rockstar game, you know. A Rockstar game like Red Dead Redemption 2, or I play Bully. I haven't played our Red Dead. I haven't played that. I haven't played those games, but I have played Bully. And Bully has a very linear story. I mean, I think you can kind of do different missions in different orders, which is, I mean, that is technically non-linear, I guess, but, you know, and there are some side missions, but they have a campaign, you know, that doesn't really diverge based on choices. Like, and Jimmy is a kind of, well, not necessarily a static character, but like there's this open world where you can run around and do or use your tools that you have, and like it's called Bully, but Jimmy is kind of an anti-bully. He doesn't like the cliques, right? At the school, he wants to protect the weaker kids from the bullies. He wants to stop them. But you have this open world, and there is a bullying mechanic where you can actually bully people and do humiliation animations. Nothing like really serious. I mean, it's obviously roughhousing, and it would be obviously pretty against the rules in real life. But you can insult people. You can beat people up. Beat other students up. You can't beat adults or prefects up. Well, you can actually beat adults and prefects and even the police. You can assault the police, but you'll like instantly get into trouble and busted and lose all your weapons and stuff. So, but you can run around and bully the hell out of. You can bully the hell out of little kids. You can give little Sheldon. You can give that little prick a wedgie. You can give him a wedgie. Sure, you'll probably get instantly busted by the prefix, but there won't be really any consequences to the story. You can constantly bully Sheldon. You can insult him whenever you see him, even though he's just kind of a not a nasally annoying kid. Um, but he's just a nice kid. There's no like you can be a complete bully to anybody. Granted, it's kind of impersonal because it's that like Rockstar stuff. I think this is kind of similar in Red Dead 2, where you can you can say hello, and they'll say, "Well, fuck you." You can kind of have some interactions with people. Um, and then in Red Dead 2, there's like the honor system, which I don't really get, and there's the wanted system, which I don't get either. But I think that is they kind of did fix that in Red Dead 2. I don't know because I haven't played it, but from what I've seen, because the only real knowledge of Red Dead 2 that I have is the Nicky Jicky video on it, where he was like, yeah, there's this ludonarrative dissonance, right? Where the story, you can't really approach the missions in any unique way. Rockstar, yeah, that's the problem with the Rockstar games, is that they have this great open world and all kinds of tools for the player to choose what they want, but they have this narrative that they really, really want the player to play as. So if they say, oh, drive this forklift into this exact spot, and it says on the screen to do that, it's like, at that point, you are literally just playing cookie clicker, if not really, even, because at least in cookie clicker you can just log off or whatever, but like if something tells you, if it's a game where it says get into the forklift and you do it, and it says drive the forklift to the exact spot, wait 5 minutes or whatever for the NPC to get there, and then you do everything the developer tells you exactly. Granted, you can maybe approach fights differently, but like if it's so linear and you're following exactly what the developer wants narrative-wise, then it's pretty much just a book, or I don't know. This problem is addressed heavily. That's the main idea behind the Stanley Parable, is that the narrator is a game developer or a narrative designer or whatever for a game, and he's made this preset story where Stanley does exactly what he says, and Stanley has no freedom of choice at all. And of course, the point of the game is that you can deviate however you want, and there's different endings, and everybody's seen Stanley Parable, so people know what I'm talking about. But you can disobey the narrator at every turn. You can do things that make him pissed off. You can make him sad. The real ending, though, spoilers, I guess, not real ending. It's just the ending that the credits roll on. Is, I think, you disobey him until you get to the elevator area. And then you enter a room where he wants you to answer a phone call, and you unplug the phone, and that was a choice that the narrator didn't even realize was possible, which is actually really clever, because I think none of the other choices in the game are like that. I just kind of realized that, because usually the narrator is aware of the other options in the game. So he's like, Stanley knew this wasn't the right way to enter the meeting room or whatever. So he knows the other options, but you end up unplugging the phone, which he didn't even realize was possible, and essentially it's sort of a metaphor for glitching the game, not necessarily glitching, but completely subverting the narrative. And he sort of realizes that, no, you're actually not Stanley, you're not this character that I invented, you're a real person. And he tries to explain to you the point of making choices, and he's like, make the correct choice next time, and then he brings you back to the beginning, and then you're forced into the narrative, and then essentially what happens, you get to the boss's office, and you literally have to follow his orders at this point, because the game starts breaking if you it's like, no, why did you go to the right, or why did you go to the door on the right? That screws things up. And then you get to the boss's office where you're supposed to input a code, where the narrator says, oh, put in the code, and then the player types it in. But it's not, and he's like, Stanley speaks out the code out loud. And then what happens is that nothing happens. Stanley does nothing. He literally can't speak, right? Because that's not something that games usually. I mean, maybe that's in some games where there's like voice recognition. That would be kind of neat, but like Stanley can't say anything because he has no power, and everything that Stanley does is because of the player, and the player can't say out this code. So essentially what happens is the narrator brings it all the way back to the door decision, and now the what you're controlling is like it becomes really meta and kind of fucked and sad. You're taken above the room with the two doors, and Stanley is just standing there, and he's not saying anything. He's just completely motionless, and the narrator is kind of breaking down, and that's the end, or then the credits roll. That says the end, and then it's sort of actually from the real developers. That's the real ending. So that's why I consider it the real ending, and the one that's sort of illustrative of the real point of the game, which is the issues around narrative freedom in game design. And then there's a lot of philosophical shit about free will, but yeah, it's pretty heavy because essentially, yeah, the narrator's story in game kind of completely breaks down because the player has free will or freedom of choice. So really, you have no choice, or the developer, if they want to have this story at the way they designed it and the perfect way they want it to be, then they really do have to force the player into a certain like path, you know? So I don't know. And games don't have to have like complex narrative choices either, you know? It's hard. There are many different types of games, and incremental games are supposed to be kind of a satire on what games actually are, but there are a lot of people who genuinely like these and put time into them, and me, you know, I'm susceptible to the psychology behind it. It's basic psychology. You can't afford an item, so you click more to get it, and then you get a little upgrade, and then it's like simple fucking monkey brain psychology, basically. And nobody is above that. Nobody is above that. Not even rational people like myself. And a lot of games use that to their advantage. Even, well, obviously we know casinos do. But this is not really a gacha game. And I think the developers are aware of that, because I saw in the Wikipedia article for, I think it was on incremental games mentioning Cookie Clicker. It's the developer of Cookie Clicker said that Cookie Clicker is a non-game. He called it a non-game. But it's weird that something that was deliberately designed to be a satire, about games, or kind of poking at what games actually mean, or it's like, yeah, this is silly, this is stupid, why would anybody waste their time on this horseshit? But then it actually, by updating it, it was brought to life, and a lot of people have spent a shit ton of time on this. And let's see, like incremental. What was I going to say? It's supposed to be a satire about games, but it ends up being a game anyways, because I think humans just kind of make things into games. Because Cookie Clicker is it kind of reflects a lot of real life, because that's why I was kind of making sassy comments the whole way through, at least through the beginning, until I was actually like kind of getting deep into it, where it's like, yeah, I'm acting like a real business. It's not really that deep, because all you're doing is clicking cookies and getting upgrades, but Cookie Clicker is a stupid game that manages to be kind of clever, but not in the best way possible. I don't know. It's hard to explain, because incremental games I think are sort of fundamentally problematic, because I think ultimately games should be inherently engaging, which is why I can't really play Skyrim, even though I liked it. I liked it as a kid, and I played it a lot. I can't really play Skyrim over something like New Vegas or The Witcher 3, even though they have kind of similar mechanics. Well, Witcher 3 is a lot different, but you know what I mean. Like, they're open world RPGs, where you're kind of exploring around, and I can't really play Skyrim because the base game, like the story, is just not interesting or engaging to me, maybe it was when I was younger, but like, I can appreciate Morrowind a lot more because it's a bit more open-ended. Yeah, you still can't really make choices, because the Elder Scrolls, ever since after Daggerfall, Bethesda was like, this choice shit is kind of confusing, and it's I don't know if that was exact, but they were basically like, we don't want to invalidate the choices of anybody who played Daggerfall, so like, because there were different endings in Daggerfall. Oh, you could give, I don't remember, it was like the talisman, or like Numidium gets in the hands of the orcs, it gets in the hands of the necromancer king, or the different kings of the different kingdoms. Like, you could give the big power. I don't know if you gave him the giant golem or if just the totem. I don't exactly. But, well, Daggerfall is another issue, because wow. But because Daggerfall has a gigantic world, but it's all kind of it's all procedurally generated, almost all of it anyways. There's probably a few design dungeons, but it's all kind of procedurally generated, and those types of dungeons I don't really like. Like, there's a reason I really love the classic Doom, at least the first episode, because those levels are so like thought out, But like, I can't really do a random dungeon crawler. I don't know. It's fine. I'm okay with like roguelikes and all that, and kind of random dungeons. But if it's random, then it's not really that much different from Cookie Clicker. Because if the whole world in the game is randomly generated, then like, there's no message from the developer. It's not really art, in my opinion, if it's just completely random, And that's, yeah, it's kind of like describing a randomly created Minecraft world as art. Even though, like, yeah, the programming and all the shit that goes behind Minecraft is art, and like the textures and the obvious shit, and obviously the music, because the Minecraft music is amazing. But like, if a world is randomly generated and you get this really beautiful mountain or whatever, like, yeah, it's beautiful, but it's not art, because a developer didn't make that. That was generated by a seed, Versus, like, yeah, a big skyline in, say, Skyrim, that can be art, because it's been kind of thought out. Maybe I think they do use like procedural generation with the terrain, which I'm kind of okay with, to be real. I mean, you can make the general layout of a country, or if you're world building, you can, let's have a river here and but like, if you want the like specific shape of a lake or a specific shape of a mountain, then yeah. But, or like the whatever, like rolling hills, like, you don't have to pick exactly how high a hill is. Maybe if you want like a specific scene where, you want it to be intense, there, you don't know if there's something over the hill or not, then yeah. But I don't know. And that's a big problem in games. Games too, is like, how far do you want to go with the random generation? Because now with AI, like I said at the end of the last one, I was like, I can't even, like, AI is like throwing out the concept of reality, basically. It's taken away a lot of meaning, or it's already done that, and it's not even been around for that long. I should actually like buy stuff if I want, but I'm trying to talk, and it's hard to talk really engagingly for me and be able to play games at the same time, you know, or to multitask, because I think multitasking is not okay. But shit. The universe is now turned to cookie dough. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of fake news, right? Because 45 trillion cookies, yeah, that's bigger. Like if we're translating cookies to dollars, that is bigger than any company ever on Earth. But that's also not as much money as there is on Earth. 75 or 45 trillion. There's no way. I mean, it's just an exaggeration, right? But anyway, it's like I don't know how to make games. And I'm not really that much of a hardcore gamer either. It's one of my main hobbies. I spend a lot of my time playing video games, but I think that's just because I fell into it as a kid, and now I'm just like, yeah, might as well play, Or it's just. I think the main reason is because of that control, and that's probably why I like Skyrim. Is that yeah, you can run around and do whatever you want, unbeknownst. You can't really do anything in the story, and the story sucks. But there are obviously some side missions and all that. But like, yeah, you can run around and chop a guy's head off and get better at doing axes or whatever. I think a game like Skyrim, the way people play it is not really that much different than Cookie Clicker, right? You run around, go into a dungeon, chop a bandit's head off, and then the drum noise happens, and one-handed is now 34. You've gotten slightly better at one-handed, and now the number has gone up. Time to keep playing. Skyrim uses that kind of psychology. And this, like the I mean, is there really that much deep psychology to the fact that numbers go up and there's more to aspire to? Is that really like abusing psychology? Not really. I mean, that's just like kind of obvious. It becomes an issue with the gambling and all that shit, Oh my god. Really, I'm just trying to determine whether or not it's actually worth it to spend any time playing Cookie Clicker. It is not worth it to spend your entire day doing Cookie Clicker. But, or like, oh god, like, just sit here, because that's what I was doing. That was basically what I was doing yesterday. Is yeah, let's get our CPS up. Let's keep going, And I was like, that's basically somebody going to a casino and it's like, yeah, let's keep playing. Not exactly the same thing, but like, what will I actually get out of Cookie Clicker besides this introspection, which I could have just done normally? I don't know. Oh, fuck. You could have stopped it. From Grandma. What? Okay. When do I have to get the ancient tablet? I might as well just get that now, to be honest. Whatever. Chain for the true recombulators. Oh, okay. That's for the factory? I might as well get that now. Factory. Global warming! Yes, we have achieved global warming. And that's the thing, yeah. Cookie Clicker is meant to be a satire, right? But the problem is that it's actually psychologically rewarding and tricks our brains into thinking it's fun to do numbers go up game, It is fun, and I think that's the problem. And this is, yeah, this game is probably like where that whole, oh, play whatever you want as long as it's fun, you know, that whole like axiom where it's just about fun, that's where it can get kind of harmful and bad. Because yeah, it would be great, like, not that every game has to be Dark Souls or every game has to be hyper engaging, but like, it's like, because that's not what people want, right? They have their life that engages them, so they want to get home and just, oh, let's get my cookies up. You know, it's kind of like a basic task that helps keep them going. You know, it's not some like artful, amazing experience every time. You know, but I don't like that argument either because like I hate Marvel movies. Marvel movies are pieces of shit. They're not actually movies. They're just products. You know, but Cookie Clicker isn't really the same because it's not really a product necessarily. I mean, yeah, I mean, I spent like, I don't know, $2.99 or something. I spent like $3 or whatever on it when it was on sale, and it's like whatever. You know, it's not like a $20 movie ticket, or, you know, I don't remember. I think I had like ad block or whatever on it, so it's not like a hugely profitable game. I wouldn't imagine. Maybe it is. I don't know, but they've kept it alive with updates, and yeah. Oh my god. Just like how, you know, the MCU and Disney will make, oh, let's make 4 more Star Wars products this year, and we'll see if people keep tuning in, you know. And they're the ones playing Cookie Clicker IRL, right? They're trying to, oh, let's invest $200 million into this movie, and it'll give us, you know, 250 in return or whatever, and we'll make our money back. Oh well, not counting marketing and shit because that's, but you know. Oh fuck. Let's buy the recombulators. Sure. We might as well buy the transmutated grandma. I kind of want to buy the time machine. Time machine. Let's get it. Boom. Actually, that is 14 trillion. That's a lot. But boom. Time warp. Brings cookies from the past before they were even eaten. 160 million. Whoa, that's a lot. Yeah, now we can't get the ancient tablet. But I don't really have enough portals to make that really worth it anyways. But anyways, let's get the transmutated grandmas. Okay, now... yeah, at this point, it's just like, God, this is... export save. I'm okay with the numbers go up game, you know? I don't know. I don't know if I'm okay with it. It's just kind of an easy thing to keep me occupied, you know? Oh my god, we almost got a billion CPS. Yeah, might as well buy like 75 of these. Get them up there. Let's see. Portals. What do I need to buy now? And then I'm just kind of having this computer do it for me, you know? Get my Alchemy Labs 17 and 19. This is based on like immortization, I think. But I think I'll finish the well, let's see. 24 million. I do kind of need a good increase in... yeah, this is more efficient price. Yeah, the Disney guys, they're playing Cookie Clicker IRL, where they're looking at, oh, which one do we buy now to get the highest number, you know? And it's like, yeah, Cookie Clicker, this game turns me into a slave, you know? But so does every other game, you know? Like, why waste your time playing video games when you could be doing something good with your life, you know? That's literally a valid thing to say, by the way. Unless, of course, you know, you have that engagement, oh, and it really means so much to me, you know? But then it's like, yeah. Cookie Clicker means a lot to me. I wouldn't say I have a personal connection to any game that I've played, really, because I don't tie things that I like to my personality, you know? Well, and that's kind of different, too, is that, like, I probably would say I have a personal connection to New Vegas or Morrowind or, like, those games that I really like, you know? But why would I play a game that I don't like? Because it's a game, you know, so you're already kind of wasting your time, you know, because you could be, I don't know, feeding starving children or something. You could actually be contributing to the world. You should donate all your life savings, live monastically. It's fucking hard, man. I don't know how to solve the world's problems. And nobody does, really. Bing, boom. Dude, oh my god, 900 million. Your cookies are rewriting the fundamental laws of the universe. I think, yeah, I don't know if it being satirical or being goofy, tongue-in-cheek, having good art, and being, you know, a satire of itself really helps it in terms of how morally correct and how good of a game it actually is, you know? Maybe it makes it slightly better than like some text-based incremental game, you know, that has no flavor at all, you know? Is Cookie Clicker a good game? Is it a fun game? Well, you have to kind of get fulfillment out of... You can't really get fulfillment other than that extrinsic fulfillment. Yeah, I think that's what it's about too. Is that Cookie Clicker... You're just getting that kind of satisfaction of getting more cookies. It's just the extrinsic. Of course, you could look at it and say, like, oh, isn't it intrinsic to want to just do things that make you happy? You know? Well, is it actually making you happy? Or is it, like, just taking up your time and giving you dopamine temporarily? You know? Is it giving you something that's going to last forever? Is it giving you something that's actually that you're actually gonna appreciate, or are you just gonna get more and more cookies? Like, are you gonna remember the hours you spent on Cookie Clicker? I think there are gonna be some like memorable stuff about the art, you know, like, oh, the grandmas are weird, or, you know, it's kind of funny, and you know, but in terms of the actual gameplay, I don't know. It's literally just Cookie Clicker, you know. And it's like, in order to defend this game to other people, you have to be like, yo, it's way more deep than that. Yeah. I mean, but is it really? I don't know. I guess that's what you can actually get out of Cookie Clicker is the introspection and discussion about what a game actually is, you know? And that might have been the point. It doesn't really matter because his game is the most well-known incremental game ever, and people play it a lot, you know? I think this is just also a bit of a problem with satire, is that, yeah, movies like American Psycho, or American Psycho is a satire, and you're not supposed to like Patrick Bateman or think he's cool. But there were guys on Wall Street who are like, yeah, this guy's awesome, you know? And people, obviously, Patrick Bateman is a bit of a meme, and he appears frequently he frequently appears unironically in like Sigma male posts, you know. I think to be fair, I think a lot of people don't even know who that actually is or don't care, or yeah, I think he is cool because, you know, he dresses well and is handsome, and he's like, yeah, he axes somebody's head. You know, like people don't know the actual meaning of the movie American Psycho or the story. You know, but if people did, I don't know if they'd really change their mind either. Because yeah, Bateman is kind of a sympathetic character by the end because he is like he's like complete, well, spoilers, he's like trapped in this room, he's trapped in this world where nobody even knows who he is. He can literally do whatever he wants. It's a perfect thriving environment for a psychopath, but he has no identity. You know, he's kind of like lost in the sauce with everybody else, and it's a tough thing, you know. But I think a lot of people actually like that, you know, like the yuppies that it was based off of, you know. And when most people like share unironic Patrick Bateman Sigma male memes, they probably have never watched the movie and don't care, or if they watched it, they'd probably still find him cool and not understand what it's about. You know, so this is just a problem with satire. You know, people fall for the onion all the time. I think the average person or the average American is probably just too retarded to understand satire. And like me, I can understand what Cookie Clicker's trying to say, but I'm psychologically susceptible to that clicking noise and the idea of numbers going up and optimizing things, and it's like, yeah, you're manipulating me. But isn't that kind of what art is? You're manipulating me into feeling something, you know? An image is just a manipulation. It's not real. You know, you don't go see the Mona Lisa and you see a real lady. It's a picture of a lady. It's a drawing of a lady. Like, art is manipulation. That's what makes it good, and that's also what can make it terrible. Cookie emoji, most popular among teenagers. Oh, God. What I should do is figure out how to save scum this sugar lump. I think there's also some kind of upgrade that gives you more CPS per sugar, or like for having sugar lumps. Yeah, ancient tablet. I'm actually going to try with Cookie Clicker though, but I do want to get back to Terraria and actually beat Empress of Light, Daytime, and although Daytime, oh god, I could probably get Moonlord before I get Empress of Light Daytime, because I could probably, well, I think in both cases, even with my tank build on Moonlord, I will have to actually learn his moves and learn how to avoid him, because he just has too much health. Breakthrough, you're 18, Alchemy Labs. Tourism to Cookieverse, popular with bored teenagers. Casualty rate as high as 73%. Nice. So yeah, there's goofy flavor text that kind of keeps the game alive, but oh man. Can you save scum the stock market? Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's what makes games different from. That was a breakthrough in games. I think I don't know if this was the first game to have save, or the ability to save progress, but I think it was Legend of Zelda or something, and it was the first game that had documented cases of game addiction. Now that people could save their progress, and yeah, I save and reload a lot in games. Could I say that I'm addicted to video games? I don't think you could reasonably, charitably ascribe that, but I think in some ways, yeah. That's, yeah. If it's something that you can't really answer yes or no, then it's probably a yes. But like, how addicted is addicted to a video game, you know? Like, how much do you actually have to play to be addicted to video games? Is this real? Yeah. Video game addiction. Gaming disorder or internet gaming disorder. Yeah, I guess gaming addiction is kind of like where you're doing nothing but like literally playing League of Legends for 16 hours a day, and I've never done that. I've kind of hated multiplayer games. I was bad at Overwatch, or I kind of tried playing that on Xbox, and I was like, yeah, some of this is fun. I kind of like running around and shooting things, but like I just raged whenever I played it. It's like, fuck this shit. Quit killing me or whatever, you know. Yeah, I couldn't really stand that because, I mean, I'm sure Overwatch would be kind of great if you had like a good team or whatever, but I don't know. This is kind of why, that's kind of why esports is a little bullshit in my opinion. Well, just from the outside looking in, I guess. But so are real sports too, you know? I'm not out, but I would say real sports probably has a lot more planning and teamwork behind it. But like if you look at a football game, how much are the players actually participating in like problem solving and in terms of stuff? It's usually the coach that does that, and the players kind of know what to do, you know. So really, something like football is more so entertainment. It's hard to even call that a game, you know. It's literally a game, right? It's the most famous game ever, football, you know. But oh God. Games are fucking weird. Yeah, with football, I think there's more riding on it than that it's a game. It's more like a capitalist thing. You know, there's a lot of people watching. It's just a big entertainment thing. It's not about the game. Games are meant to distract people from real life. Games like that, anyway. Because, like, people get really fucking dedicated. Maybe not so much in America. I don't know if you hear about this stuff very often, but like overseas, they have like people get into like riots and like shit over football, the real football, the soccer one, you know. Like people get into massive fucking crowd riots over football, over soccer, you know. And it's like, are you stupid, or have you tied your entire life to something that is just a game, you know? Video games are a hell of a lot different than sports too. Because there are quite a few videos like this it's called like, it's just a game in quotes, or it's just a video game in quotes, and then it'll have like constant unending clips of like of great cutscenes from games, which is kind of funny to me because what that really is you like the story in these games. And I'm not disagreeing with those videos. I think they're pretty great videos and obviously great stories. But cutscenes are not games. It's like watching a movie, you know? And all of your like memories and associations with this game are with the story of the game and not the actual gameplay, you know? Well, I'm sure many people have memories of the gameplay. It's just you can't. A lot of that isn't on footage, you know, and you can't just like put it there in an epic compilation. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people who have these memories of, there was this one time I got blown up by a creeper or whatever. I don't know. And that's the thing. I can remember like vibes or whatever from games. Or maybe I can remember like a couple of goofy things that happened, but yeah, a lot of the stuff that I remember from, say, New Vegas is like the dialogue with the characters and like running around and doing the story, you know? It's like, and heck, I remember a lot of stuff from Skyrim too, you know, and a lot of it does have to do with the dialogue and the story, which is often, you know, not really part of the game, because the game is separate from the story. That's the entire point of ludonarrative dissonance, or it's kind of in conflict. That was a view that I don't know if I've talked about it before on the channel. I think I have, but one of the head developers of Doom said their philosophy, or like his outlook going into Doom, was like, story in a video game is like story in a porno. You know, you kind of expect it to be there, but that's not really what you're there for, you know? And of course, that outlook has changed drastically since the days of Doom, you know? There have kind of always been narrative games, you know, there have been text-based games for a long time, but it's like, not until more recently. By more recently, I mean like in the past, like, couple decades or so, have games been getting more and more advanced, and they've got these fancy cutscenes, and they become more like movies and shows in terms of, like, I don't know how to say it, but it's like, yeah, The Witcher 3. I feel like if The Witcher 3 was a TV show, it wouldn't be, well, The Witcher 3 of course has gameplay elements, but it's like, you have Geralt go up and talk to somebody, and then boom, there's this cutscene, and you can make choices during it, but it's like you're not moving around, you know, it's not really a game. You know, it's more like a story unfolding, and then while you're running around like slicing people or whatever, then it's a game. I don't know, it's fucking weird. And like, is a choose your own adventure book a game? Because then I don't think you could even really call like because it, like for example, a game like Detroit Become Human, or those like really heavy narrative games. I don't know if I'd necessarily say a game like Doki Doki Literature Club, because that's like, I just say that because it's a kind of visual novel type game, and that's the only one that I know of that's like that, where it's pretty much just characters talking, and you can kind of, I'm sure there's like some kind of reputation system, or I don't know exactly how it works, but it's like, that's basically a choose your own adventure novel, and same thing with Detroit Become Human, but it has like fancy graphics, and there's like shit on the screen, and you can kind of move around sometimes, but very limitedly, you know? So a game like Detroit Become Human is, I mean, like, not that, like, the David Cage games aren't really that well reviewed, but they're liked by a specific audience, you know? And I feel like, yeah, they're not written that well, and if Detroit Become Human was like some young adult novel, people would probably hate it, you know? Or if it was a TV show, people would hate it. Well, I don't necessarily think that's true either, but because there are people who like bad TV shows, but it's like, it would not be as like interesting or weird, or like, I don't know how to say it, but it's like, it wouldn't be as appreciated if it wasn't a game. Because yeah, a part of it is like the motion capture and the facial capture, and how it's basically a movie made into a game, but the game is, you can choose your own story, you know? It is a choose your own adventure book. And a choose your own adventure book is a book. Although it is kind of a game. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know what a game is, dude. Am I a gamer? I don't know. I address my audience as gamers. Mainly as a joke. But it's like, everybody's a gamer. Psychologically. You know? Whoa, we're getting a little too philosophical here. That's not true. You can't get too philosophical. Everybody is a gamer, though. Like, you're either into sports, you know, or you're into kind of video games. You're into some kind of game. Unless you're a complete fucking boring piece of shit who just only does things in a utilitarian sense. Like, I've got to meditate, and then I've got to take a cold shower and then do business emails and then exercise and then donate to charity and then go to bed. You know, it's like, what the fuck are you doing with your life? You know, sure, you're probably a better person than I am, maybe, but it's like, are you okay? People play games because life sucks. Okay, life is hard, and in games, life is easier to understand. You know, games offer simple answers to simple questions or complex questions. You know, I just have to get more cookies. I have to beat the boss in Dark Souls. You know, there might be simple or there might be complex problem solving involved in those, but like in real life, there aren't simple answers to everything. Always. Sometimes there are. It's weird. It's complicated. But maybe real life is just a game. Okay. I don't know. Because yeah, like I said, those Disney guys, they're playing Cookie Clicker, just with money and movies. But and actors are over here, you know, writers are over here, and you know, and oh. In life, everything is headache-inducing, but in this simple world of Cookie Clicker and my computer, I can just get that dopamine hit of solving a problem and setting goals and without worries of risks. You know, that's the problem with saves too. That's probably why people got addicted. It's because if you went away from the computer or the console or whatever, you could come back and you could be back in your second life. You know, in this simple snow globe fishbowl life. I don't know what type of term to use. I'm sure there's probably been some invented before because I'm sure other people have talked about this. Because there's nothing original under the sun. Okay, everybody's talked about everything. Okay. Major city being renamed Jackville after world famous cookie manufacturer. Hell yeah, dude. They can go back to this simulated life, this virtual life, to avoid real life. And that is a fundamental problem, but it's not something to be ashamed of or really regret doing, because yeah, life does suck. And like, if there was no art or anything, like there would be no point in living, honestly. Everything would suck if there was no reason to enjoy anything, you know? And that's kind of what art is. It's having principles versus like doing everything for an extrinsic purpose. Like, oh, I just want money. I just want, hey, I just want sex. Even though sex is kind of like an intrinsic, like, oh, I want to feel happy, I want to reproduce, I want to fulfill biological needs. You know, I think a lot of the time those biological needs are extrinsic. You know, intrinsic is something that's kind of valuable on its own out of principle. You know, so like, I think, yeah, stuff like sex, you can be intrinsically motivated to engage in sex with somebody that you really love, you know, and you just want to have this companionship and this kind of beautiful moment. And I think that's fine, but like if you're just doing it for pleasure, then it's kind of a fine line, you know? So then should you never have sex just for pleasure? Well, then that's a big political issue, obviously, because that's a kind of like a religious, moral, legal thing. And then you get into the huge fucking religious rabbit hole where it's like, oh, can a man and a man really love each other? Yeah, like sex should just be missionary between man and woman, you know. But then you're kind of going back to utilitarian, where it's like, yep, you should not have sex for pleasure at all, and you should exclusively just like instantly nut in a woman's pussy, and that's it. Only to make a woman pregnant. That's the only point of having sex. That's the only point of having sex, is to propagate the species, not to enjoy it or have it be a companion with your fellow human. Love is just a chemical that compels. I mean, which is weird because, like, to me, the religious perspective is it's about love, it's about companionship, But I think, a lot of the religious, like, very highly conservative looks on that is sort of utilitarian, that like Rick Sanchez type stuff, where it's like, or they kind of use a similar logic, where it's like, love is like made up. It's just a chemical, bro. Like, you don't love this person. You just have shit going on around your brain that makes you think you do, you know. And then of course that ties back into the real deepest, most problematic philosophical issue, I think, which is free will. This is why the Protestant Reformation happened, basically. Do you actually have a choice? Is everything kind of predetermined? This is actually one of the things we were talking about in class today. So yeah, like, do you have a choice, or do you have a choice to love your fellow man? And maybe in a gay way, if you want, but like, is it just like a chemical reaction, and should you only engage in sex just to boop, get it done, get her pregnant, get this bitch pregnant, and then go hang out with your male friends at the monastery and never talk to a woman? That's the most gay thing you can do in your life, by the way. But anyway, you have no sex for pleasure at all. Just do it. Just get it done. It's like a monk. You live, if you don't like you have to live monastically. It's weird because a lot of like the like, I'll just say Christian monks, but I think a lot of monks are kind of the same. Where it's just, we live out in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of dudes, totally not gay, and we're just meditating all day. We're closer to God, or closer to fucking Gupta or whatever. We're closer to the ideal. And it's like, if that helps you in life, fantastic. If that gives you a fulfilling life, I would be surprised. But yeah, you're free to live out in the woods and shag your friends, and not breed or whatever. But like, I don't know. It's just so hard. Ethics is so hard. At this point, societally, like, this idea of like, we kind of talked about Taoism. I'll just compare it to Taoism because it's pretty simple. It's just like, just follow the way. Follow the natural order. Don't have a big society, just have little communities sprinkled out, and we won't have to do anything. We'll just kind of that's not what that means, but we'll let nature take its course, and we can get into like the monastic stuff where, you shouldn't have any sexual desires, although that kind of ties into Buddhism too, but because that's one of the points with Buddhism, is to eliminate desire or something like that. Or is that Hinduism? I don't know. A lot of the Eastern philosophy is kind of about that, where desire is kind of chaotic, and you can't give in to desire because it's against the natural order. And it's like, everybody is just going with the way, and there's no society really. It's just like villages everywhere. But the problem is that society is kind of what makes humanity, really. You know, it's what makes the world go around. We live in a society and all that. You know. So it's like, and we've already, like, there are uncontacted tribes out there, but that's kind of the point. They're uncontacted. They're not really with the rest of humanity. So Jack said to me this year's most popular baby name. Has that ever been true? Has Jack? Well, Jack is obviously a very popular name in real life, but has it ever been like the number one? I don't know. Maybe. But like, alright, I don't even know where I was, bro. Get your new charms and curses at the yearly National Spellcrafting Fair. Exclusive prices on runes and spellbooks. Okay. Your cookies are rewriting the fundamental laws of the universe. At this point, cookies permeate the economy, says economist. If we start eating anything else, we're all dead. Yeah. We're pretty in deep here. We're deep in the dough. The hell was I talking about? Yeah, we either go that way with Taoism, where everybody's just kind of going with the flow and not doing anything spicy, you know. We're just kind of all we're letting it be, and then we have society and we have progress and we have inventions and all this crazy shit, and we try to move the species forward, but that also comes with problems too. I don't know, it's weird. Although I don't think Taoism necessarily suggests that there will be no societal or, you know, like, progress, but I bring up Taoism because I think it's kind of, I don't know, it's older than like the Plato stuff. I think it was like 500 BC or so, which is quite a bit before, and it's this kind of philosophy is still huge to this day. There are philosophies before that. I think there's like Zoroastrianism and all that. But I guess that's kind of similar. I don't really know what that's about, to be honest. I think in that they have it that like God is actually not that good or something. I don't know how that works, but Zoroastrianism is actually a monotheistic religion. I think it was like, I don't know if it was the first, but it's still like the oldest religion that still has quite a bit of followers. Anyways, don't really know much about it, but I use Taoism as an example because it's permeated that area, or I don't know if that's the right word, but it's been a really kind of standard philosophy for that area of China and similar philosophies in the Eastern world for millennia now, and it's still a common philosophy even in America that people should like conserve and stick with the order, you know, versus, yeah, like, let's have a society and okay. I think now we're getting into a little bit of an advanced territory where I don't exactly know what I'm talking about, but nobody knows what they're talking about anyways. So, but let's see. Yeah, it's either that. Okay, so yeah, back to yeah, we can just tie it back to free will. Free will versus determinism. You either sit on your ass all your life. You just lay down and rot. I think that's actually a common term in the incel community. Lie down and rot. Just go out into the forest and instantly die, or just sit there until you die because you literally have no choice in life, determinism, or free will. Actually do something about your life. And to me, yeah, I would be like a compatibilist or whatever, and we kind of touched on it, but it's like, yeah, obviously, I think maybe it's not obvious to everybody. It definitely wasn't back in the days of the Protestant Reformation because people got into wars over this shit. But it's like, obviously there are some scenarios where, yeah, you literally don't have any choice. Okay, everything's been kind of predetermined for you. Like nobody chose to be born, obviously. But yeah, there are a lot of instances where you do have a choice and you can better yourself, or you can kind of do things. And yeah, a lot of it is kind of hampered before you. And yeah, the logic where, like we talked about Schopenhauer, he was like, yeah, you've kind of already reasoned out or siphoned out the things that you can't do or wouldn't do. So you don't necessarily have free will. You can make choices, but like you kind of already eliminated every impossible thing. And then there was, I forgot who it was. I don't remember. But it was with hard determinism. It's like the past influences the present, which influences the future. And you can't change the past. Therefore, you can't really do anything. I don't know. It was kind of a confusing argument. And it's like, yeah, obviously you can change the present, or you can change your attitude and change the future. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. The argument wasn't that like smart or easy to understand to me. Maybe I'm too smart. Maybe the argument's too dumb. I don't know. But it's like, yeah, since you can't control the past, and the past definitely influences the present and future, and you don't have that much influence over, or you don't necessarily have an influence over the present, then yeah, everything is predetermined, and you don't have free will. We haven't really gotten a lot of arguments for free will because yeah, both sides are kind of hard to prove, or well, you can't prove them. Well, you can kind of logically go through until you reach like a decent argument, but it's like it's not. Both ideas are, you can't like have empirical proof for either of them. But anyways, we didn't really go for any arguments about free will, but mainly it's kind of a perspective on, or it's a spectrum on how deterministic you are versus, because yeah, I think either way, people, like, no matter if you're like, if you're from a religious point of view, you have to kind of believe that God knows everything and he plans everything out. And then if you're like a real like kind of lefty sociologist type, they're still going to believe in determinism because yeah, they would literally have to believe that yeah, society sets things out for you. Or it's kind of like that, maybe like kind of laissez-faire libertarian type attitude where it's like, yeah, you always have a choice. Society doesn't have any effect on you. And yeah. Yeah, that would be the end where it's like extremely pro, or extremely on the side of free will, where it's like a lot of people kind of concede that yeah, there are many things that are out of your control. It's just how much of it actually is in your control. And yeah, I would be like I wouldn't be in the middle exactly. I don't know, but I would be a compatibilist. It's like, yeah, there are a lot of things that are out of your control, but if you accept hard determinism, where you literally have no choice, or if you accept Schopenhauer's argument, where you have no free will at all, then you could literally just lie down and rot. Like, just go out into the forest and die, because there's no point in living if you have no choices at all, But it is kind of shocking, the more you think about it, how little choice you actually have in your life. And that's really what games give you, is that choice. Because yeah, you can just log off. You can't really log off your job. You can quit, but then you'll die, or you'll lose your money. You can't quit your family. Well, you can you can leave them. You can forget about them. But it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm not using good examples, but you don't really always have a choice. It's kind of shocking how little or how much of life is actually predetermined. You know, I kind of had that realization today. I have to, if I'm going to be a compatibilist, I kind of have to constantly try and say, yeah, you do have a choice. You totally have a choice, you know? But a lot of it is kind of chosen for you already, you know? Just like, you know, in the Stanley Parable, the narrator has tried to make all the choices for you. Obviously, the point in the game is that you do have a choice, kind of. I don't know. I don't really know what the perspective on free will is for those developers, but they intended to, you know, have a ton of choices for the game and have a bunch of different endings. Or I guess the game doesn't have a final ending because the game it doesn't actually stop. Whenever you end the game, it just goes back to the beginning. Anyway, I better. Oh, hey, you're still here. Bake 1 billion cookies per second. Okay. Oh, jeez. Kind of like it being in increments of 5, you know. Let's see, that might be better. I don't know. What's the next upgrade? I think it's going to be this, yeah, 10 trillion. It's only 10,000 seconds. I don't know how many, 10,000 seconds. Isn't there like 80,000 seconds in a day? So that would be in 1/8 of, yeah, it'd be in a few hours. I'd make that up. What the fuck was that, dude? Hello? Yeah, there was like some really bad winds out. Oh god. Your cookies are rewriting. Yeah. So, yeah, I think, yeah, the biggest issue, at least for me, I've found that the biggest philosophical problem, I don't even know if it's the biggest even, because like I said, there's shit with AI and like it's kind of a post-truth world where nobody cares about what's real and what's not, or what's actually true. Like people are kind of getting more irrational now, and that is probably actually the most important issue. But that gets more so into ethics versus philosophy, and they're different things. You know, ethics is more about like what you should do, whereas philosophy is very obviously a general type deal, where it's about the broader like principles and logic behind stuff. So you need the philosophy to be able to do ethics coherently. Anyways, even though philosophy is deliberately incoherent, you know. But I guess saying anything is deliberate implies that you believe in free will, which I think everyone does. I think everyone believes in free will. You have to believe that you have at least some choice as a human, you know? Otherwise, like I said, if you believe that you have no choice at all, then why even bother living, you know? So yeah, why bother playing games if you really have no choice? But that's kind of irrelevant, I guess. Most people don't really think that way. Congregation. Because, yeah, in the case of a game, you literally do always have a choice. You can't just shut it off, you know? That's why people say it's just a game, even though it is kind of a trite cliche at this point. It is just a game, you know? It's not... People don't say, oh, it's just your job, you know? Oh, it's just your livelihood. Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense, you know? Anyway. I don't have any, like, bullet points or whatever. I'm kind of just an idiot ranting, you know? And aren't we all? We're just kind of coasting through life, you know? No matter how intentional and cerebral you think you are, you know? I don't know. But I shouldn't say that, because they're insane oatling workers? What? Oh, insane oatling workers. Oh, wow. Okay. Flux capacitor. Oh, that's a great movie. What I should get is the Stripwaffe. Yeah, anyway. It is nice to be more cerebral though and intentional and like, yes, I can have an authority over my own life. I can pull myself up by my bootstraps, even though that is a cliche and it was originally meant to be a joke, right? Because if you literally can't, like if you imagine that scenario, you cannot pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. That's retarded. Or that's, well, actually, it's a, what do wrath cookies taste like? What the hell are you talking about? Somewhere between blood sausage and seawater. I think I've seen that message before. I haven't even seen a wrath cookie. Whatever. Anyways, the, yeah, you literally can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And don't think of it as, oh, I'm in the pile of snow or whatever, and I can pull myself out of the snow. Like, it would be like saying pulling yourself up by your own leg, you know? It's weird to explain, I guess, but, like, pull yourself up as in, like, move up the ladder, you know? Improve yourself. But you literally can improve yourself, though. The phrase "pull yourself up by your bootstraps" has been kind of overused, or it was kind of like misunderstood by a lot of people because it was originally meant to like critique those people that would say, "Yeah, if you're poor, you know, you've just made bad choices," you know. It was a deconstruction of that idea, but just like Cookie Clicker, it was a deconstruction of games, and now it's not meant to be a serious game, but now it's taken seriously as an idle game, and people love it, you know? But, you can't, like, you have to have an attitude that you can make better choices and improve your life. You have to have that attitude, otherwise you are fucking dead. And you probably don't even deserve to live, if I'm being completely honest. Well, that's being harsh, but, like, if you literally have no desire, like that's what I'm talking about, the pure deterministic outlook, is that there's literally no point in living if you have zero choice in your life, you know? So what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it, you know? That's what I say to the hard determinists, is like, literally kill yourself. No, I'm just kidding. Don't literally kill yourself if you're determinist, but like, it's like, what's the point in living if there's no choices? You know? Living is making choices! That's from, that was one of the Picard speeches. And it kind of is, though. That is kind of I think it's kind of an existentialist point of view. But living isn't entirely making choices, but that is kind of what makes life different than just, instead of being a rock, you know? That is kind of what separates humanity from a rock or I don't know, a pig or something. You know, not that pigs and animals can't make choices, because they probably do. But it's like humans have a different outlook on things, and they can, you know, and they can have willpower. You know, this idea of willpower. And I was like, yeah, that's why it's called willpower. It is the power to control or to will what you want. You know, I think it was the Schopenhauer angle was like, you can control what you do, you know, but you can't necessarily control what you have the will to do or what you will. I don't know. It was kind of confusing, but it was like, let's see. Yeah. Oh God. It's the hardest. It's the hardest debate. It's not really a debate because it's like, yeah, people. Well, it is a debate. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's like you can't prove any of this shit empirically, so it's not scientific. But philosophy is not really scientific either, you know, because science is a separate thing. We talked about that too. And people say, I believe in science. You know, science is based off of facts. It's based off of empiricism, observation, you know, inductive reasoning. So yeah, it does rely on some assumptions, but it makes assumptions based on what you know is factual, you know. And it's not making any claims about truth. Truth is something that you know 100% certain to be true, I guess. I don't know, it's weird to explain, but it's like a lot of the terms are kind of weird and interchangeable too, because then you'd be like, a truth is something you know 100% certain to be a fact. No, but it's like science, it has to be testable and falsifiable, and you can't. It's very hard to do that kind of thing for whether or not humans or living beings or sentient beings have choices in life. You know, it's kind of hard to prove that. But people can look at, obviously, a dicey kind of sociological example is like, oh, how come you're stuck in the hood or whatever when I got out there? You know, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps, and now I'm on Fox News talking about it, and I'm a respectable black guy in a suit, you know. And it's like, I don't know, man. If like, and that's the problem with believing in hard free will, is that if you're implying that everything in life is kind of up to your choices, then you're sort of implying that people who have made better choices are just like better or smarter, you know, inherently on an essentialist level, where it's like, yeah, the like people who are economically disenfranchised. It's like, why don't they all just get out of poverty by making great choices? Well, you know, people aren't really seeing the big picture there. There are choices that you can make in life, but a lot of it is kind of predetermined, you know. It's like education and access to schools is kind of based on zip codes and property taxes, and a lot of the choices that people can even think of making are like how they grow up and how they learn or what they're learning, and if their schools are like underfunded, or you know their parents are missing, or they're working 3 jobs, you know. It's like, just because one guy got out and got onto Fox News doesn't mean that everybody can, you know, and or will. And that's a double meaning there, you know. And yeah, that's the problem with a lot of the successful people, regardless of whether or not they're black or they have survivor's guilt, that type of deal. Um, a lot of the like, oh yeah, we totally have free will, dude, or we totally completely have free will. There's no determinism or luck involved. A lot of that would require them admitting that, yeah, a lot of their success is based on predetermined factors and luck. And that would kind of require them to kind of introspect more and think, well, maybe it's not all my great accomplishments and abilities. Maybe it's not all my merit. The idea of a meritocracy is complete bullshit. That's like a line or that's one of my like lines. I guess I have a few lines on like, if we don't see eye to eye on this issue, then I don't even think we can have a conversation. Or it's like a philosophical minimum. Like it's a philosophical. I'll call it a minimum. The bare minimum philosophically is acknowledging. To me, would probably just be the compatibilism. You'd have to agree with compatibilism that, yeah, a lot of the time it is just kind of luck, and a lot of things are predetermined. And then the line there is, philosophically, you can't be a full determinist either. That's kind of my minimum philosophical line. Obviously, we can have conversations with people who are like kind of philosophically interested in having conversations, but like, if you're just a random like dude, if you're like a random like conservative boomer who's like, yeah, we live in a meritocracy, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, kid. It's like, yeah, you're kind of an intellectual void. It's a philosophical minimum. So like, if you believe in a meritocracy, if you genuinely believe in a meritocracy where, yeah, the people who make the best choices and work the hardest are always the people who are successful, and the people who are below them are literally below them, or figuratively and literally below them. Meaning that if you don't make good choices, it's your fault. And I think, yeah, that's probably the issue too, is with the free will determinism, is how it affects blame and fault and culpability. Yeah, I made great choices. Why don't you just make great choices, dude? Like, get a job. If you're the type of person that acts like that, I think you're a philosophical black hole, and I don't even know if there's really any redeeming you if you can't somehow see what I'm talking about. At least think about it, Yeah, I would say, I don't want to say, oh, if you don't agree with me on this philosophical minimum, then I'll just hit you in the head with a rock. But like, if you can't at least like think about it, then I don't know what to do with those people who actually believe in that, Because, yeah, and that's where you get into like the post-truth era meme, Yeah, believing in a meritocracy is only convenient and accepted for successful people. Successful people always say that. Yeah, just make good choices, bro. But if you're like less successful, you'd be like, oh, there's things weighing on me, It's just really easy for successful people to believe in a meritocracy because obviously they're the ones with merit, in this meritocracy. Like, the idea of a meritocracy is complete bullshit, Yeah, sometimes hard work can help you get ahead, and it takes a lot of work to actually improve your life, But hey, a lot of it was kind of figured out before you even thought about it, like the people who managed to make themselves successful just kind of had the right opportunities at the right time. You know? But to actually have the willpower to make your life better, this isn't about, oh, being an epic hedge fund investor and making a ton of money or whatever. It's not, about actually improving your life, having better habits. That requires a different kind of willpower, I think. You know? Not just luck. Everyone, including me, the idiot playing cookie clicker, does, I think, have a responsibility. Or it's not even about responsibility. It's about, like, you just should want this as a human to make your life better, you know? Everybody needs to be able to do that. You know, and of course a lot of people haven't been given the proper opportunities to even think about doing it in the first place, or, you know, they have some setbacks or whatever. And it's like, people need to believe in some kind of bit of free will in order to actually do anything with their life. But you can't go too far where it's like, yeah, if you're not making the right choices, I'm better than you, you know, and everyone who hasn't made good choices, regardless of circumstances, is just worse, you know? Oh, fuck. Okay. Shit's getting too real now. 25. Okay, yeah, we need the ancient tablet at this point. Yep. Yeah, shipments are kind of shitty at this point because they're really expensive. I do kind of want to get exactly 40 though. Yeah, just to satisfy my fucking stupid brain. Oh man, what a rabbit hole. Wow, I've been talking for an hour and a half. I've been talking to myself for an hour and a half. This is how, like, oh god. It's how, like, unresolved or kind of easily distracted I can be with this. I don't know. Nobody's figured out any of these things yet, and we probably never will. But never say never, I guess. Yeah, I would suggest people on the issue of free will versus determinism. And I probably should read more on it, obviously. But I would say you have to have at least you have to have both, not equally. It kind of ties to the whole thing in the psychology and sociology and a lot of other stuff, is like somebody's like behavior and psychology, or just being, can't be solely attributed to genetics or the determinist view. And it also can't solely be attributed to we're clicking, baby. We're clicking. This is the great click again and make 10 trillion cookies from clicking. We can't solely be determined by choice either, because then we have that problem where, yeah, a lot of people who just got successful because they were in the right place at the right time can't really say that they were successful. You know, I don't know. They were in the right place at the right time and made the right choice. You know. Yeah, it can't exclusively be genetics that is responsible for creating a person. Well, it kind of is literally though. Like if you didn't have your genetics, then you wouldn't be here, you know. But also, if you didn't have your choices, you wouldn't be here either, you know. So it's a bit of both. It's never one or the other. It has to be at least a little bit of both. So you kind of have to fundamentally accept compatibilism if you want to believe in the concept of sociology or even psychology. And yeah, a lot of people don't even know about that kind of stuff or care about it. Or if they do, they're like, sociology is bullshit. You know, that's like faggy Jew shit. You know, that's what the Nazis said. You know, although sociology hasn't really been developed that well. That's more of a more recent thing, I guess. But like, there was like the or that's what like modern neo-Nazis and same types of people will say. You know, let's say that kind of stuff. It's just BS. You know, to distract you from the ideals of the state or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of political morons out there. But yes, sociology is an interesting thing because it kind of throws a wrench into the works. And it completely changed how I look at stuff, to be honest. It's a crazy way of understanding things. It really puts things into perspective. It really helps you see the big picture, you know. But at the same time, is it actually a science? You know? Yes. It's based off of empiricism, study. But then again, yeah, a lot of the stuff when it gets to the social sciences, you know, people kind of it's not the same thing as chemistry and physics, where you can literally, is this element this color or whatever? Like you can easily test that. Well, not easily. I should say easily, or no, I should say simply. It's tested very simply in a lot of ways. I shouldn't say it's easy, right? Because chemistry and physics is super fucking complicated. But you know what I mean. It's like these variables in society are a lot more complicated. They're like, ugh. And there's a lot of different kind of converging factors, and it's hard to test for a lot of this shit. But it is testable. But anyways, yeah, a lot of like the psychology and sociology experiments, or a lot of people go into it kind of trying to prove themselves right, when real science is proving yourself wrong. Having a claim and trying to disprove it to increase the likelihood, or I should here's my claim. Ducks quack or whatever. You should try and find a duck that doesn't quack to disprove your hypothesis. Although, yeah, a lot of sociology related experiments are probably just like, I don't know, studies and like correlational. I don't know exactly how that works, to be honest, but a lot of the experiments related to psychology and sociology are not super simple, where it's like, hey, we put this chemical in this beaker or whatever, and we got a result. Like the way people do experiments in science class, or the way people think of a science experiment is probably not at all how it works in sociology and psychology. And like a lot of the techniques like surveys or polls, you know, aren't exactly very valid a lot of the time. So you also have to be kind of open-minded and skeptic about stuff, but you can't just outright dismiss sociology as like, oh, it's hippies shit or whatever. It's lefty nonsense. I don't know. Shit's freaking complicated, is what I'm saying. And it's kind of stupid. Shit's kind of stupid sometimes. And that's what's nice about games, is it lets you be stupid, I guess. And that's especially true with Cookie Clicker, because it makes me stupid. Maybe that's the point. Maybe I don't want to play a game like Dark Souls and be like super engaged. Maybe I will when I have like a day free, but like after going to school and being kind of stressed out, you know, it is nice to feel stupid. Or be able to like have just a goofy task to do. Whereas like fiddling around with the endgame bosses in Terraria or in you know, having a real engaging experience with the story in The Witcher 3, or like you know, going through bosses in Elden Ring or whatever, is like, that's like a whoa. You know, that's something you do have to actually be engaged in and spend time with. Whereas Cookie Clicker is something you can spend a lot of time with, but it's not something you necessarily get heavily engaged in. Although, to me, I'm kind of, well, now I'm having like, I was able to have a full like philosophical discussion, and that was nearly 2 hours long. Well, I'm not really playing it, I guess. I'm kind of like checking things out, I guess. Anyways, I'll have to figure out this sugar lumps stuff. Anyway, I would not be able to have a philosophical conversation while seriously trying to play and beat Terraria, you know? And that's kind of a lot of the problems I run into with making the gaming videos, is I want to be able to talk critically about stuff while playing it, but that's actually super hard. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but if you look at a Let's Play channel, like a typical Let's Play stuff like Jacksepticeye or Markiplier or whatever, you know, they do critically talk about stuff, but not really until they're done playing. While they're playing, it's more like, they're just reacting to it. So, and then I have a problem with that too, because it's like, is that really like transformative or interesting to watch? I don't know, it depends. I hope this discussion is appreciated, I guess. Well, I don't really care if it's appreciated or not. I'm just kind of talking to the void. But it would be cool if it got some views. I appreciated that the trolley problem video got some decent views, and just kind of an off-the-cuff sort of BS video. I think I said pretty much everything I wanted to about incremental games, the problems with it relating to game design, what games are actually about. Chocolate jewelry, oh shit. Yeah, I wish I could go back on the news to read that. But anyways, I'm syncing. There we go. I talked about pretty much everything I wanted to relating to game design and its kind of unresolved issues, and it tied it into philosophy and some political stuff, or some like sociology stuff, and that's what I like, you know? Or that's what I kind of want people to think about more, you know? Because who knows, with and the way things are happening, you know, it might be hard to kind of think that way, you know? I don't know. That's beside the point, I suppose. Oh shit, we almost have 10 trillion. I'll just save up to get the ancient tablet. Oh baby, yeah. We're just, numbers go up, and my brain feels good about it, and that's all I really have to say. I probably shouldn't be playing it. Probably should be playing something super engaging. You know. And how can something so trivial and stupid and time-wasting take up so much of my attention and I actually want to do it. I don't know. The thing is, I don't really want like a hyper engaging experience right now, you know? Obviously I kind of got one anyways by talking, but I think as long as I'm playing Cookie Clicker and I'm able to engage with stuff. There we go, Ancient Tablet. I'll buy that. I'd buy that for $1. 1.2 billion. Amazing. As long as I'm engaging with it and not like completely getting absorbed by it. Because I think I got pretty completely absorbed in Terraria too. You know, it's just like by the time I'd gotten to like Moonlord, where it's like, yeah, I don't know. I think this is going to actually take a lot of practice and time to get right if I want to beat it on Master Mode. You know, it's like, yeah, I better kind of take a break or try something else. I don't want to quit it though, because that'd be lame. Because I'm like almost done anyways. But yeah, I don't necessarily regret quitting games either. I never finished Pirate 101, the first game I did on the channel. I never finished that Musketeer character because I got burnt out with it, you know. And I kind of got burnt out with The Witcher 3 because I played so much of it, and I had kind of already finished the best parts of it, in a way, you know, with the Velen storyline and the Hearts of Stone. You know, not that the rest of the game is bad or anything, but it's just like I kind of got sick of it, in a way. Or it was just, it was something that was kind of happening over time, and it was inevitable. And it's just like, it wasn't super, it was fulfilling to play the game, but, and I liked talking about, like, oh, what choice should you make? Because I think that video got decent views, too. But I don't know. I think I got what I needed out of the game, to be honest. And it's like those big, huge open world games that are a million years long. I don't know if I'm really interested in that kind of thing anymore. Even something like New Vegas. You know, I could play New Vegas again, but when I play those games, it's like I get so invested in the story or whatever, and it's like I want to get things in the right way, so I kind of reload a lot, you know, and that can take a lot of time and be uninteresting for videos, you know. I did try to play Dishonored on the channel, and I actually did beat Dishonored recently. I beat it without recording, actually, on low chaos, or maybe I don't think I started from the beginning. Whatever. I did it low chaos, and I went through the game, and well, I don't think I like ended up reading everything or having like a super like long playthrough, but I went and did it, and I tried the second one. Wasn't super interested by it. So I was just like, yeah, we don't have to play that on the channel, you know. Dishonored is another kind of dicey game too, because it has player choice in it, but I don't know if it necessarily handles it in the best way. And is like the ultimate thing that you want in a game or any piece of art engagement, you know. That's definitely something that should be a high priority, you know, and maybe the highest priority. Maybe it should be the highest priority from what you, if that's what you want from it, you know. But ultimately, yeah, it should be what you want. But wants are kind of complicated, and often they are just merely psychological. And that's kind of what Cookie Clicker is. It's just a, you know, numbers game. Bazinga, you know, I get the dopamine hit every time I get an increase, and the numbers go up. And is that really what you want? Like, do you want to just waste your time playing incremental games? Maybe, but do I want to waste my time playing any video game at all instead of, I don't know, studying, like working to get extra money. And yeah, and then the real problem here is the big elephant in the room. It starts with a C, but we don't necessarily have to talk about it because it's kind of, well, it's not overblown, but it's it's capitalism. It's the system that we live under that's so screwy, and it's what makes people do shitty things. But then you get, maybe that leans too hard into determinism, because if you just, oh, the system sucks, there's no point in doing anything. If you just resign yourself, then you're a waste of life anyways, But it's just very hard in this kind of world to really even want to improve yourself, And that's the really, really big issue, or one of them. So many of them. Can't handle everything. Can't fucking solve the world's problems. Nobody asked me. Nobody wants to solve the world's problems anyways. If anybody wanted to do that, the world would have no problems. And I suppose that's the real problem with free will, is the willpower and the ability to execute the willpower. Oh, speaking of execution, let's say I'm like Jeff Bezos or whatever, or I'm Elon Musk and I have a ton of money. If I was like an ethical, principled dude who really wanted to make the world a better place, there's really nothing stopping them from doing that. Or like the president, or anybody in political power. There's nothing stopping them from making the choice to make the world a better place. Well, there is something stopping them, and it's the horrific, extrinsically damaging system called capitalism. It's better than feudalism, though. It's better than being a slave. Where you have to obey the Lord, and the Lord has to obey the king, and the king is ordained by God. Versus now, you have to obey your boss, and your boss has to, obey his money, or whatever, and or your boss has to obey the government obeys the president is ordained by the people, Or I shouldn't say the president, I should say like the laws and the boss has to obey the government, and the government is a representative democracy. Oh, we're living in a constitutional republic. Yeah, and you're dumb. Okay, we live in a democracy. People who say, yeah, we live in a constitutional republic, I mean, whatever. People are voted in. It's a democracy. Maybe it's not like a pure democracy or whatever. I don't know. I guess there are different types. But we live in a representative democracy. And yeah, maybe the people just made maybe the people just made the wrong choice, and they just didn't vote in the right people that actually want to make the world a better place. Or maybe there's not really a good choice at all for truly making the world a better place. Sure, there's a better utilitarian choice for the average person, but that choice has kind of been set up like people vote Trump because they've been given a narrative, that says, oh, he's shaking things up, he's going to drain the swamp, there's going to get rid of the Democrat establishment that's been screwing everything up. And it's like, and the Democrats, Harris, she is nothing but an institutionalist. An institutionalist is better than a crazy fascist dictator, though. And that's kind of seems like where things are heading. You know, I don't really see like camps being built immediately on January 20th. But you know, it's scary how fucking close everything is to Nazi Germany. You know, and it's like, you know what fucking happened to the Nazis? We've shot the hell out of them. We hung all of them. Okay, and it's like, that's kind of cool. You know, not saying that that's what's apt to happen now, but like, dude, like, it's gonna be dicey. But like, again, or not, I guess I haven't really brought this up, but like, you can't know the future, right? It's like there was that kind of weird shit happening in South Korea where it's like, wow, this is a really bad, like, this is bad. You know, this is the president being like, yep, we're just gonna do martial law and take over the country. And then the parliament was like, no, you're not, and nothing actually happened, which was kind of impressive, great news to happen. But then over in America, of course, you know, if Trump is like, yep, we're doing martial law, people, we're gonna get rid of all the wokies, you know, like half of Congress would agree with him, you know. I don't know. But the problem is that in South Korea, the military was quite a bit different. Yeah, I don't think the military would really go with Trump's plans a lot of the time. Or Trump, like if Trump decides to, yep, I'm just gonna enact martial law and we're gonna take over the country. The president like could actually do that. I think the president could have done that all along. The point is that they didn't, because it was like established that they shouldn't do that, you know. But there are a lot of flaws in the design of our country. The founding fathers and everybody, they didn't really see a lot of the modern shit coming because they couldn't predict the future either. But it's like, yeah, the military probably wouldn't go along with Trump as much, you know. But yeah, that's why it was scary in South Korea, is because the military was kind of going along with the president. And like, yeah, and once you have the military, that's kind of over. It's kind of over for the country. You can literally do whatever, because in the end, yeah, it is just about violence and the barrel of a gun in terms of what actually gets things done, you know. So basically, if you disagree with me, get hit in the head with a rock. Well, I don't know. It's weird. People can definitely change and have their perspectives shifted. And don't miss tonight's interview of Jack by Blimmy Blowin. Okay. No, Jimmy Fallon. Anyway, it's like, shit. Cookie shortage strikes town. What the hell was I talking about? Anyway, getting a rabbit hole into politics. Politics is obviously super important, but everything's too political now. The hell? Oh yeah, okay, so I think this stuff here, that, I think those are heavenly chips, which is, yeah, that's what you get, for ascending. And I think you get one heavenly chip per, ascension, or like per level, and I think I might have to try and get as far as possible with this until I actually do it. I could do it now, I guess, but I don't really know what good that would do necessarily. It would be nice if you could kind of like preview what you could get. Yeah, I probably want to have like, I don't know, 100 of these before actually doing that. Right? Yeah, I kind of want to get far. Probably not far enough to get every building or whatever, but like enough to get a decent amount of stuff. Anyway. Oh, yeah, politics is important. A lot of people just don't care about it though, or you know, but not that that really matters because we live in a post-truth era. You know, and it doesn't. It does matter though because that's how the elections happen. You know, people vote. That's what's great about a democracy. But it's also what's terrible about it. You know. I did get the double portal thing, so yeah, ooh, 300 some million. Damn, we're getting that. Oh, 50 million. Anyway. Nui key working fine, reports gleefully journalist. Reports gleeful journalist. Okay. Universe. Okay. Politics kind of sucks, but it is it's what makes the world go round, you know. But that's kind of obvious. I don't know. A lot of people just want to live their life, you know. And it, you know, if they're hearing about shit in the news, yeah, it's great to go and play games, because then you don't have to actually confront anything or think about anything, you know, besides the stuff that's virtual and you can just turn off whenever you want, you know. Anyway, I'm not really here to solve the world's problems, but I think that's kind of part of life, is trying to make things better, both for yourself and for everyone else, you know, and to make a better world. That's one of the things that everyone, regardless of what they think, is supposed to do, you know, unless you want to just sit on your ass and do nothing, you know, but you just can't do that. So maybe you don't have free will. I don't know. But that's one of the things that humanity needs to do, is to make things better, you know. I don't know. Hopefully what I'm saying actually makes sense. But I don't know. Words are kind of worth less in this day and age, because there's just so many words everywhere. You know? People are constantly being thrown words are constantly being thrown at people's faces, and people don't know what to think, I guess. Not that people were better at thinking 100 years ago because they didn't have social media, you know. But I definitely think, like, at least in like the academic or well-educated world, I mean, it's this has always been a thing, I suppose, but like among like people who do kind of care about this stuff and they study it, I think people have always cared about rationality and truth, you know. But in terms of the average person, they just want to grill, you know. They just want to, like, a lot of people aren't worried about, oh, what's true, what's, you know, they just trust people, you know. And if people lie to them, they're like, oh, what the hell, you know, why would you do that? And then they cut that person off, or maybe don't, I don't know. A lot of people are capable of philosophical thinking, but because it gives them a headache, and because it requires you to actually think about principles and what to do, it's just not, like, people don't like doing that. Because that does take quite a bit of mental effort, in a way. A lot of people are just kind of for the status quo. Or like, hey, I remember the time in the past where things were better, and just bring it back to that, you know? That is the problem with progressivism, is that it's kind of hard to implement a lot of the time because people are stubborn. And that is one of the problems with society, like as an idea. It is kind of a subversion of, or perversion of, like, ideals, I guess. I don't know how to say it. Maybe it would be better if everyone just lived in villages, you know, and did nothing. If that resulted in a better world, then I guess, you know. Yeah. And then the whole concept of a better world is kind of vague and subjective, because yeah, to a conservative person, a better world is, you know, one that was more like how it was 50 years ago or whatever, you know. In both cases, I think, like, if you're a conservative or a progressive, both, like, outcomes are sort of hard to define. Like, what point in the past do you like most, or what do you like most about the past? Which point in the past do you want to go to? Versus progress, it's like, there's no fucking way to tell the future, or what's right, you know, or what's the right way to go. Besides, like, oh, let's make everything equitable for everybody. And then, of course, you get into the economic issues. And then, of course, a lot of people don't want to give up their money. And that's where you get into, like, the Marxist shit. And the, like, what do we do about that, you know? What do we, like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and all of the very rich people in the world that we might not even know the names of, they're definitely not going to give up their money for free, you know, because they love they love people, you know. How do you think they got to be a 200 plus billionaire, you know? By exploiting grandmas to make cookies, you know. You can't trust a random person on the internet to tell you what to think. But I think you can at least listen to what they say and try and engage with and think about what they say. I think one of my strengths is having that kind of, it's kind of a buzzword at this point, but that, like, media literacy or that critical thinking. You know, both of those terms have been way overused. They don't actually mean anything at this point. But Like, I can comprehend what people are saying and think about it and critically engage with it. It's kind of hard to explain what that means, but kind of analyzing it, taking it to its conclusion. It's about synthesis, taking ideas that you see or ideas that are already formed and then making new ones. You know? Or if I'm reading some article, I generally kind of know what's going on, you know? But then again, my way of thinking is sort of post hoc, I guess. Where it's like I already have my principles and beliefs, and whenever I see something, it's just like I think about it until it conforms with what I already believe, you know? And that's another fundamental psychological issue, you know? And that's what skepticism can help, you know? Be willing to be wrong, you know? Be, like, willing to hear people out, you know? Or when you're confronted with evidence that contradicts what you say, then engage with it, you know? Don't just disregard it as Jewish or whatever like the Nazis did, or a lot of neo-Nazis do today, or fake news, you know, or, you know, fake liberal media, whatever, you know, or heck, don't just disregard it as, you know, conservative propaganda, whatever. Like, not saying you have to, take in all sides, I listen to all kinds of media, you know, because those fucking people are annoying, and they're usually, like, centrists, meaning they're, like, far right, you know. Not saying you have to listen to every side of media, you know. It's just that when somebody comes to you saying, hey, I don't know if I agree with you, and people can actually talk about it, rather than, you're a fag or whatever, like people just insulting each other, or you're stupid. Although, yeah, to be fair, a lot of times people are just fucking stupid. So, again, it's kind of like it's never exclusively one thing, you know. You kind of have to. It's never exclusively that people are stupid, and it's never exclusively that people are rational and they really want to talk to you, you know, they really want to get down and dirty about their political beliefs and their principles. It's like nobody wants to fucking do that. Nobody wants to actually engage with their principles. That's fucking gay, you know. That takes time and effort. It's like, why would you want to do that? Ook says interviewed orangutan. Nice. I don't know what to do with the sugar lump. I think I'll just save. Export save. Can I copy? This is your save code. Copy it and keep it somewhere safe. Alright, well, let me get a Google Sheet. Google Sheet, come on, baby. Boom. How long is it? Zoom. I think it's like, hold on. Let's see, can we get a... Actually, how long is it? I think it's like a huge fucking... Yeah, holy shit. Very long code. Oops. One. That should work. All done. Whatever. We'll get a frenzy going. I think what you can do is save before you harvest a sugar lump, and then like see if you get the right one or something. I don't know. To be honest, I don't even know if I'll update Cookie Clicker anymore. Maybe occasionally. I think if I have it like this, where I am having a nice discussion at the same time, or just kind of chilling out, then I'll come back. But if I'm just kind of doing it, since it's an idle game and it keeps going up and up, I'll probably record if I get to like a huge update, like I'm ready to prestige or something. But yeah. But I don't think I'm gonna like record every little thing that I get, or every achievement even. You know, that's like logged on my Steam and my hours and stuff. Of course, with this sugar lumps thing, you can level up these things, and then I think you like get a whole nother feature too, which I have no idea about. I have seen the future. Says time. I couldn't read that. Whatever. Anyway, just I want people to think more, you know? It's so nice to be able to have an actually intelligent conversation. They're so fucking rare. Anyways. And not like just your daily small talk or just like friendly chats with people aren't intelligent, but you know what I mean. Like having a rational discussion about like philosophical topics is really nice. Where somebody's kind of on a similar page to you, or at least like it is, to be fair, it is kind of annoying to have a conversation with somebody who you don't see eye to eye on, you know? And it's hard to convince people, and it's fucking psychologically taxing. Which is why I'm glad that I didn't have an annoying Thanksgiving, right? Where everybody's arguing, you know? Because my family's pretty conservative. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't really care. I'm just gonna try and have a good Thanksgiving. And it went great. Not that I agree with anything my family believes, you know. But for now, I'll just ignore it, okay? And appreciate life for what it is. And sometimes that's what you just have to do. What the hell was I going to talk about? Oh, it's annoying. It's annoying as heck to or it can sometimes be annoying. It just depends on how far gone the person is too. You know, because think if I was actually talking to like a Trump supporter, or like a staunch conservative, or even like somebody who's like a liberal, you know, it would just be like, it's so vitriolic, and like nobody wants to be convinced of anything. People have already arrived at their conclusions, you know, regardless of how politically invested they are too. Like they have their stuff that they listen to, and yeah. And the problem, there is a little bit of a problem with open-mindedness too. Like, oh, have an open mind, and it's like, yeah, you should, but like the old saying is like, don't have your mind so open that it falls right out, you know? You should have strong personal principles too, you know? Like, yeah, it is generally a good idea to listen to people and hear what they have to say and think about it. And explain your reasoning. You know, just like that fucking thing that they say on every stupid question on a test, explain your reasoning. That's actually a good thing to be able to do. Problem is, school doesn't actually teach that, you know? Or maybe people aren't willing to learn. I don't know. Everything's hard, but you know what? That's okay. Yeah. It's kind of like that JFK speech, you know? We don't do things because they're easy. You know, we do things because they're hard. It's about the doing. It's about doing a challenge. It's about overcoming adversity. You know, trying to make the best out of stuff. make the best out of this shitty hand you're dealt. You know. Anyway, I don't know what to do about the world, and neither does anybody else, really. You know. So we're all just kind of shuffling around, you know, thinking that we know what's happening. Yeah. In conclusion, I've been trying to wrap it up, but you can just talk about this kind of stuff for hours and hours, and that is fun, but it's also a bit of a problem, you know. Hey. Oh. Anyway, you don't have to believe what I believe. You know, things are like super focused on belief now too, but everybody kind of has to accept empirical realities, and that's the big issue. Is that like yeah, that ties into the anti-reality, anti-truth stuff that's happening now. But I don't think I'm really knowledgeable enough to speak on a lot of that stuff. Besides, I like real stuff, and I like stuff that's made by humans, and I trust empirical facts. You know, I trust. I like facts. Well, and trust is an issue too, but you know what I mean. It's like. Granted, yeah, if somebody just says, yeah, I saw a UFO the other day. I saw it. It's a fact. It's an observation. Well, it's like, you gotta be a little smarter than that, you know. It has betrayed us, the filthy little thing. What the hell is this grandma talking about? Anyway. Bro's waffling. Or whatever. Bro's yapping. I don't know what the proper term is, but isn't that what life is all about? Yapping. Isn't that what everybody's doing? Anyway. Everybody stay safe and take care. I don't know. Or do whatever you want. Or just don't do anything. If you're a determinist, yeah, just sit on your ass and do nothing, and maybe you'll make a choice, maybe you won't. Or just sit on your ass and play Cookie Clicker like I'm doing. I can barely even say that, dude. Been talking for 2.5 hours. Anyways, I'll try. I don't know. I'm so kind of conflicted about Cookie Clicker, but me talking about it and engaging at this point, or throughout this discussion, has helped has helped a little bit, because I think I've kind of elaborated more on why people actually play games, you know. And when I want a hyper engaging artistic experience, I'll try and find one, you know. And when I just want numbers go up game, you know, something kind of goofy, then I'll play that. But I don't want to play it forever, obviously. But, you know, do whatever makes you happy, but keep in mind on the things that should make you happy, Or to me, I wouldn't really agree with the pure kind of utilitarian thing where it's like happiness. I don't think that happiness is the only thing that matters, you know. Oh, now my head hurts. Anyway. Yeah, it's not necessarily what makes you the happiest, but what would fulfill yourself? I don't know. But then if you're like, oh, just only do things that are fulfilling, then like life would be boring, I guess. I don't know. Life would be weird. But I guess, yeah, I said earlier, quoting JFK, it's like we do it because it's hard. Well, if making a fulfilling as possible life would be hard, then you should do it because we do things because they're hard. And that is kind of true. You should have a fulfilling life because it's hard, but not all the time, in moderation, I guess. Just play. I'll try and play stuff like Cookie Clicker. Play in moderation, Anyway, I should probably. When's my next upgrade? My next real upgrade, I suppose, is. I guess I could pay attention to sugar lumps, but. Ah. Oop. Oh. Anyway. There we go. That's the next upgrade. The true chocolate. It's 35 trillion, which, let's see. I'm going to my Desmos graph. I think, yeah, if you're at the point where you've made a Desmos graph for Cookie Clicker, you're probably a little lost in the sauce. So what is it, 10 to the 9 at this point? 10 to the 9, and then 1.426. In, let's see, 1 hour I'll get 5 trillion. 8 hours, 41 trillion. So yeah, a night's sleep would be able to get true chocolate. Yeah, but yeah, at this point I better be using those sugar lumps. Yeah, now that I have a billion CPS, these million ones are just kind of making a dent. So if it gives 6 million, then that's going to only go up a little bit on the billion. So more and more of these things become obsolete. That's the point of an incremental game. And part of it too is that I'm kind of like spurgy about numbers and math sometimes. And it's like, get easily kind of wrapped up in it. Anyways, I'll get the sugar lump thing figured out. and maybe I think I'll come back when I'm like ready, and ready to have a nice conversation. That's what I'll do. You know. Anyway, cliched, but take care of yourself. And that's a good way of looking at things. Take care of yourself, and isn't that like what fucking Lester Holt says? My mom watches it. Take care of yourselves and each other. Good night. And it's a good statement. Obviously, it's obviously kind of plain, but it's something that you can't really disagree with. Oh shit! What the hell? That was an RTL thing right there. That was this. Or Orteal. I don't know exactly how to say his name, but you know how it is. At this point, I literally am just yapping. It is nice to have that kind of philosophical mindset where you're reasoning through things, and it's like, oh, it's getting a little. Being able to get back to just like monkey brain is nice too, Is it right? I don't know. Probably not. But that is kind of the thing about humanity, is that we're both animals and we have those reasoning abilities, So maybe we have to have a little bit of both. We have to compromise the monkey with the machine, I guess. I don't know. With the yeah. It's a good way of looking at it. Anyways, do whatever you want. Just don't get into trouble. Just don't do anything I would do, or whatever the thing is. I'm not really qualified to give advice on anything, but I am qualified to yap on the internet, as is everyone. So give me your thoughts in the comments, and share this video, or don't. Goodbye. Actually, wait a minute. Goodbye. I think I remember the Wasn't there like a? Yeah, I think goodbye actually has a root word, and I think it just means like God bless or something. Yeah, the word the bye and goodbye means like God bless, something like that. Anyway, interesting stuff. It's hard to say goodbye when you're waffling. It's like it's like a Norwegian goodbye or whatever. You just take forever. People just keep talking, but I think that's fine. It's better than just leaving without saying goodbye.